Hello there, I'm Faye of Unravel and Unwind, and I would like to talk to you about the crochet kits that are often available in Aldi stores in the UK. In October last month, 2020, my partner came home with 4 of the crochet kits from Aldi, and what I'd like to do is go through with you what I find about them, kind of like a product review. So the ones that he brought home for me last month, they were on offer at £3.99. So the first one here, we've got a cute little bear, we've got an otter, a raccoon, and finally we have the alpaca. So these crochet kits are obviously cheap, and what you get inside is a crochet hook, the yarn, stuffing, a darning needle and instructions. So the one I'm going to show you today is the one that's already open. It's the alpaca kit. I have already made it because one of the things that I'd like to do with these videos is point out any mistakes that there may be in the patterns for you. So let's tip out everything in the kit. So the first thing I noticed about the crochet kits from Aldi, branded So Crafty, is the plastic crochet hook. It's very small. I don't like plastic. The yarn itself is an acrylic, and plastic, crocheting on plastic, you don't get a very good glide. So actually I don't use the crochet hooks at all. It's very difficult to identify what size the crochet hook is. Right at the very end you can feel a rough section of plastic. That is the size, but it's really difficult to actually identify it. So before I even got started, I needed to find out what size the crochet hook was. Now, a lot of magazines give away needle gauges like these. They're really useful, especially when you get a hook and you can't identify the size. So using the shaft end, we see which one it will fit in. Well, it won't fit in a 3.25, but it will fit in a 3.5. So I now know that the crochet hook that comes with the alpaca kit is a 3.5, so I can then switch it out for one of my own 3.5mm needles, hooks even. The other thing that you get in it is the darning needle. It's got a nice big eye, it's a blunt end. Apologies for the noise of the dogs in the background, I am working from home. So darning needle, again, I didn't use the darning needle. I've got my own metal darning needles that I like to use. I did try to use it, but I found that it was really rough to try and get it through the yarn to thread my ends in. So I wasn't very pleased with the darning needle. So the alpaca kit, like I say, I've already made the alpaca. Very cute. You make the elements and you sew them on. The yarn that you get with it, you get quite a lot of leftovers actually. So I've got a fair amount of leftover of the white, and a lot of leftover on the beige. They've gone overboard on the black. The only time you use the black is for the facial features, so you end up with quite a lot of black left over. And then again, the bandana, it's cute, it's small, and look how much yarn we've got left. It's quite a lot, so you do get a lot of yarn. It's not great yarn, it's actually quite rough. I found that it wasn't suitably spun. There were some sections that quite much thicker than others, and it was really rough as it goes across your fingers. Found that a bit difficult to deal with. You get a bag of stuffing, and again there's quite a lot of stuffing left over, so you've got extras that you can do with whatever you would like to do later on. And you get your instruction booklet, which is a folded A4 sheet. Okay, so you've got a front and a back cover. You've got the abbreviations here, which is always useful, and some stitch diagrams to show you how to make some of the stitches. Good thing about these is they are in UK terms, and it actually tells you at the top that it's in UK terminology. That's really useful. That doesn't often happen with kits. Sometimes you have to actually read some of the pattern and work out what the stitches are to decide whether or not it's UK or American. And on the back you've got your regular warning information. Now it does state on here that the end product is for decorative purposes only, and that it should be kept out of reach of babies and children. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to buy these kits and make them to sell, word of warning, you are going to have to get them CE tested, CE safety tested, if you wanted to make and sell them, which means that you will need to make more than one in the same yarns and stuffing that they have provided in the kits. Again, apologies for the dogs. So that's a little word of warning on that. The instructions are quite easy to follow. The text is a little bit small. I would say maybe about a font size of about 11. So if you're doing this of an evening, it is a little bit difficult to read the text sometimes, so good lighting is handy. Now, one thing that I'm really impressed with the pattern itself is there were no errors in the pattern. So we haven't got to take into account any mistakes that may have happened during the tech editing or the printing of the pattern. It is all correct, and we have a little alpaca to show for this. I didn't have to make any adjustments. It doesn't tell you things like how to position the elements onto the alpaca, so that is down to, well, obviously use the photographs on the box as a guide. You've got quite a lot of photos. We've got a few more on the back, so they're quite useful guide for positioning. One thing I did do is with the arms, I actually closed them at the top before I attached them to the body. I quite like doing that with arms, and that gives him this lovely little flapping motion with his arms. But with his legs, I did keep it open and just stitched around the circumference of the leg opening. Cute little tail on the back. You could stuff the tail if you wanted to. I chose not to. And I haven't fluffed his hair up properly yet either. Embroidery doesn't give you a guide on how to do the embroidery, so you know, for beginners you may find this a little bit difficult, but again, it all takes practice. So all I did was a couple of French knots for the eyes, and I used the fly stitch for his mouth, and I actually went over the mouth twice so that it was a little bit thicker. Fly stitch, if you don't know how to make that, there is a hand embroidery tutorial on our YouTube channel, so you can go and check that out. I'll link to it. And the bandana, the only stitch you use is a double crochet, so really easy. It's one stitch all the way around. It is done in the style of amigurumi, so you really must use a stitch marker or something to mark the last stitch of every round and move that marker up with you so that you don't get lost. There isn't a stitch marker in the kit. I think that moving forward, Aldi and So Crafty, for people who may have only basic crochet skills and maybe don't have a lot of equipment, be a good idea to stick a stitch marker in there for them as well. So yeah, so all in all, I'm pretty pleased with the pattern. It works up really nicely. It's a lovely little not a toy, and you get a lot of leftovers as well. So I'll come back later on when I've made the next one and let you know if there's any errors in that one too. If you've enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking the bell for further notifications so that you know when we upload again. If you'd like to follow us on patreon.com, we have a subscription service there, and on Patreon you'll get exclusive content and early release videos as well. plus the occasional free crochet pattern from my pattern library, and various other rewards throughout the year. And you can find us on patreon.com/unravel and unwind, and I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you for joining me. Have a very good week.